Tuesday. We're going to do a little in-between round deck tech, except my mic isn't on. Now it is. Can you make sure your mic's on? You're probably better.
My mic appears to be on.
All right, good. So that's a little bit of what happens when you're trying to do everything live right now. CJ was nice enough to sit down with me. We're doing a little bit of a deck tech, one of the newer decks that we're seeing in the format in the Boros Energy deck. You know, energy, crazy mechanic, great that we just made something that can't be interacted with. I digress a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit. We've got Jingata as the companion. Obviously, that's a good value engine there, so we won't harp on that too much. But let's talk about some of the new MH3 cards, CJ. Let's start with the one drop. We've got the new Guide of Souls. How's that been so far?
That's been great. When I remember my life triggers, I messed up the first couple times, but the energy payoff in itself, like you just play a couple creatures, you play in a Johnny, you get 2 energy. Play an Amped Raptor, you get some energy, and then all of a sudden it's a 3/4 flying. It can make it self-flying. I also at one point made Flage +2/+2 and flying, which it's
88 for
that's
flying.
basically a good game.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, so that card has been absolutely cracked.
All right, yeah, I mean it makes sense. What about everyone's favorite loyal companion, Failure, the Exuberant Shepherd, I believe it is. I did unfortunately see you punt against Control.
Yeah,
Not forgetting about that flash, but how's it been?
It's been fine. The thing that like I'm still trying to like feel out about that card is like very often like it is just a base 2/2 with no evasion. So like sometimes like you want to flicker something, like flickering your fable is really good. Flickering the unstable amulet or an Ajani or basically everything in here has an ETB. But like sometimes you're just looking into a board and you're like, they're just gonna kill it, and you have to kind of decide do I want ETBs or do I want this 2/2?
Yeah. Now, for folks at home, remember one of the cool things about Failure is that it actually can exile your opponent's non-land cards as well. So if there's a pesky token in the way, like some Saga tokens and things like that, it will get rid of them and they don't come back. So that's a cool little thing there, kind of doing that next level interaction stuff. Have you gotten to exile anyone's permanents and get rid of them? Any tokens?
Yeah, mainly just like blockers. Yeah, like token blockers, or even if they just have something in the way, like I haven't gotten to do it. If they have a Murktide, that'd be awesome. That's what I really want to think. But yeah, but just any creature you can get out of the way.
All right. Well, Ragavan is a card that needs no talking about. I think everyone's sick of Ragavan, so they're in there. Makes sense. Great card. Nice job, Wizards.
I've actually seen some people online starting to play Ocelot Pride in the slot of Ragavan.
Okay.
I feel like the board gets a little more clogged MH3, at least for now. It could change very drastically in a week or two. But I don't know. Like, it works how you'd expect.
I hope to be able to Wrath Disguise you if you have Ocelot. Yeah. But speaking of big cats, we're talking about a Johnny. How's that been?
Johnny, I've really enjoyed. Like, I found myself a couple times just legend ruling my own Johnny just to flip it. If the board is really clogged up or you're just looking for like a way to shoot someone for big damage, the 0 ability makes a token, and then if you have a red permanent, which is pretty easy, you just shoot damage anywhere. So you could easily shoot like 5-6 damage face.
Because it's the number of creatures
it's you control, number of creatures you control, and then red permanent.
Other red,
gives you the damage.
I mean, listen, a 2-drop with that much value, I can't see it being bad. So if anyone watches this, send Uncle Vic some of Johnny's. He needs some. So, all right, let's get to the reason that this deck probably exists in its current iteration, Amped Raptor. Now, I'm going to read it for the folks at home just because this one's mainly the main one we want to talk about. So it is a 1 colorless, 1 red pip, 2/1 with first strike. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy, and then if you cast it from your hand, you exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast that card by paying an amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost, because you know what? Why cast cards anymore when you can just cheat them in? What's the value been?
I've really enjoyed that card. It's not too difficult to have an energy on turn 1, or if you have the Guide of Souls and that comes in and then you have 3 energy. I haven't gotten to do it tonight, but I have done plays where I hit that, and then if I've like have Blood Moon in, you just turn 2 Blood Moon. You could turn 2 Fable. You get a Flage, considering you have an energy from an Aether Hub or a Guide of Souls. But even just hitting a Ragavan is solid value. Hitting the Galvanic Discharge doesn't even feel that bad if they don't have anything to hit with it, because
Get
you
the
can just
energy.
target it for 0, pay the 1 energy, and then you net
Just
2
net and
energy.
energy.
Yeah.
Again, nice job, Wizards. Really love a non-interactive counter. You know, really about that life. But yeah, I mean, the card seems nasty, and the value you can get, especially because, you know, I mean, pretty much everything in this deck is hittable. Really easy. Um, Flage. I'm a big fan of this card. I'm playing in 4-color Omnath. You're playing the full boat. Thoughts so far? I know you made it. You said you made it
Yeah,
an
I
8/8.
made it a flyer. I've really enjoyed it. Just the life gain can help you stabilize if you feel like you're falling behind. But for this deck, it's really just the getting ahead and beaming people's face. I feel like face is just a target I've hit most times with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular deck really has no graveyard beyond Flage.
Okay.
So, like, for opponents, it's hard for them to really like try to target it. Like, nobody really wants to endurance or like bring in hearses for it because it only really does one thing. I have nothing in my graveyard I care about. So it feels kind of safe in there right now. Maybe if more Dothies or something pop up in the format, it might not be so much. But as of right now, I feel like it's an all-star.
All right. Yeah, I think it will continue to be an all-star here. You know, Uro was good, and I know they tried to nerf it, but it looks like we might be experiencing another just really strong 3-drop because you know what? Why not? Next two cards I want to talk about. So in the spell section we have the Galvanic Discharge. I think everyone's been pretty high on that card. I think we've all seen the value of the energy. You know, just being able to pick off almost any toughness at this point has been super strong.
In this deck, it's almost better than like a Unholy Heat. If I just bank up energy, I can kill
Mm-hmm.
basically anything in the format.
Yeah, so I think that's super strong. If you're not playing that card, definitely look into it. Even decks that really aren't abusing energy. You know, you're starting to see that more and more. We got Fable, the Mirror Breaker, everyone's favorite 3-drop value engine. Because why not? You know, we're just going to keep playing it.
Blink it with the Thalia.
Yeah, you know, why not? Do whatever you want. I mean, we're going to just degenerately flip everything. So I digress, everybody. I'm a salty old man. It's okay. Static Prison. Now, this is a card that I'll admit I did not rank very highly. And after rereading it and playing against it, card's gas.
I've never had to sacrifice it so far. It's basically turn 1. It's there. You can hit their halfling or whatever, or late game you hit something huge,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, I've got 3 energy. It gives me a couple energy, and then my engine keeps it there forever. There's not the downside that's printed into it doesn't really exist if you're an energy deck.
Yeah, because you know why downsides don't exist. Everyone's gonna get to play everything. We're just actually gonna add a new rule where omniscience comes into play. All right, CJ, I want to just go over Unstable Amulet really quick. Just your thoughts. I know the round's about to start, but how's that been for you?
It's a solid value piece. Helps you dig a little deeper. You can do it multiple times. The dealing of damage is relevant, especially if you have a couple of them out there, and then all of a sudden you're pinging them for 2, you're pinging them for 3. So yeah, I've enjoyed all the pieces of the deck. It's struggled against ring loops for anyone at home watching if you're thinking about building this deck. So I'd consider maybe some Bone Crusher Giants or something like that if you're playing into a ring heavy meta.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's been fun and I've enjoyed the deck.
Yeah, and we're gonna go over the sideboard just really quick. So for the people at home, 2 Harsh Mentors. That's obviously for the Nadu matchup, and I'm sure there's a couple other decks that it's not bad against. We've got 1 Kataki's War Rage, 2 of the Mage Bane Lizard. Really cool card. If you don't have it, definitely get it. It's great in every red deck. Really hurts that Ruby Storm list. Blood Moon, because we got to punish the greedy mana bases. And then we've got 1 Celestial Purge, 1 Deafening Silence, also for that Ruby Storm deck, 2 Wear Tears, and 2 Unlicensers to attack that graveyard. So, obviously, you know, everyone at home, you're going to be modifying your sideboards and, you know, a little bit more to maybe your specific meta or what you think you're going to see. So maybe what works for CJ doesn't work for you, but, you know, if this gives you a good place to start. CJ, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you for having me.